Hey everyone. So I'm going to give a couple, maybe just 1 minute, let people join, but we'll get started just shortly. Go ahead and put where you're in from in the chat and get the chat alive. Hey everyone. So I'm going to give a couple, maybe just 1 minute, let people join, but we'll get. That was odd. Okay. All right. We've got a lot of people in, so I will go ahead and get started. So again, tell us where you're chiming in from today, city and state. Love to see everybody there. New Mexico, yeah, there we go. Hometown, whoop whoop. Hey, thank you all for joining me today. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. So I'm hoping to elevate us as property managers, property management business owners, and really reach financial freedom with our property management companies. So we'll go ahead and get going here. So let's turn our PM business into a wealth building machine, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. So at the end, I'll have a Q&A. So stay to the end, and I'll stay on as long as I can. I've got a hard stop in 1 hour, but we'll get through all this in the time. So, and put your questions in the chat, and I will try to keep an eye on it. I may not be great at it, but anyway, we'll get to those. So, do you ever feel stuck managing properties while watching other property managers build wealth and wonder what they're doing differently? Or have you ever noticed that it's easier to get stuck in business than it is to get started in business? I've been on the hunt to acquire cash flowing assets that make money while I sleep for the last 15 years. These assets make me thousands per month and millions in net worth, but I don't want financial success to take you years because it can be done much faster. Nobody taught me these things. I had to learn them myself. So that's why I've created a step-by-step formula to help property management professionals like you accelerate your journey to financial freedom. And we've all been told that classic American dream script, right? And it goes something like this: go to college, get a degree, land a good job, work your butt off, save 10%, and invest another 10%. And voila, by the time you're 65, you'll be sipping margaritas on the beach, not worrying about money. But to me, that always felt like a financial fairy tale. And we're all told that although it's not entirely wrong, in my opinion, it's the slow road to living financially to a financially unfulfilled life. Because when you finally have the money, you're almost too old to enjoy it, and you've run out of the most important asset that you have, and that is time. So after 15 years going from broke, living paycheck to paycheck, to amassing a net worth of multi-millions in cash flowing real estate and millions in other businesses, I want to guide you through the framework to accelerate generating wealth in your life. So let me ask you this. Are you tired of working endless hours just to keep your property management business afloat? Do you lie awake at night worrying about inconsistent income, rising expenses, and whether your business will ever provide the financial freedom you dreamed of? Maybe you've seen others in the industry build wealth through smart investments, diversifying their income streams, and creating businesses that run without them. Meanwhile, you're stuck juggling tenants, maintenance calls, slim margins, and wondering what you're missing. The truth is, the pain of feeling trapped by your business isn't just about money. It's about opportunities you're losing. The freedom to spend time with your family, the peace of mind that comes with financial freedom, and the legacy you want to leave behind. Yet, here's the beauty of what we do. Property management is the gateway to real estate investing. And I'll take it a step further and say it's the gateway to building substantial wealth. We also have one of the most desirable business models, and that is recurring revenue that is contractual. And we have the first-hand account to real estate deals at our fingertips. We know exactly how they run, how to operate them, what the numbers look like, and the opportunity to buy them. But we have to know how. And did you know, survey after survey, the number one fear people have is running out of money before they die. They literally fear running out of money more than they fear death. And we often hear the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But have you ever stopped to really look at why? Are there principles that make the rich different? I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and yes, it boils down to core beliefs that filter their very decisions and what they view the purpose of money is. So here's the strategy. It's really a three-part strategy. First of all, you've got to find money. You can't build a solid home without building a strong foundation. In order to build generational wealth, we need to build a rock-solid financial foundation. Then you grow your money. Do more with the business that you have. Stop trading your time for money. And then we build generational wealth. Make money, making money, leaving a legacy, and actually creating a format that provides for generational wealth to leave behind to whoever you choose to. Most PMCs, well, they worry about money. They desire to do better, but not that much better. They think they're serious about getting rich, but they're only curious about getting rich because when you find out what it takes to get rich, they're not really interested in doing it once they find out what it takes. Hopefully that's not true to anybody in the audience, but that is very common. Don't have the freedom to fire bad clients. You feel burdened by the clients that you have. Desperate to bring on new doors. That you shouldn't even be managing. Just because it has a roof and a front door doesn't mean you should manage it. They think growing their door count will solve their problems. They are overwhelmed by the daily operations. I'm going to take a quick pause, guys. I got a screen just kind of quit on me, so I'm going to bring that back. Okay, here we are. Most PMs are dependent upon their business income, and most fear of losing clients, even the bad ones. Only bulletproof PMs or PMCs have stable and reliable income streams to live the life they want without constant financial worry. They have predictable financial flywheels that make money while they sleep. They have a profitable and scalable business, whether they choose to scale or not. They have peace of mind. They understand the value of buying back their time. All right, so settle in with me. If you are a property management company owner trying to make a bigger impact while enjoying consistent income, you're an excellent property manager, but making money and building wealth is not your strong suit. You know you're amazing at what you do, but you're still waiting for the rest of the world to see you as the go-to expert in your market. You want to work less, earn more, and build a business that flows in alignment with your values. You don't want to work in your business every day to build a successful business. You value generating real results and truly helping people. And you want to build a profitable lifestyle without taking years and years to do it. Now, you should leave if this does not apply, or if these ones apply. So you are happy with the status quo in your life and your business. You like consuming information, but are afraid to take messy action. You're not serious about growing income, wealth, and impact. You think being the low-cost leader in your market is the ticket to success. You think the only way to build your PM business is to grow in door count only. You think you know everything about property management success. You'll get upset when I deliver 45 minutes of detailed strategy that helped me make several seven figures in revenue and complain when I make an exclusive offer to work with me. But if you're still around, let me tell you the paradigm shifts that changed my life and my business forever. So, you see, I started like so many of us do. I went to college, then I went to flight school, I got a great job, but I was buried in debt while starting a PM business and starting a family. As a matter of fact, I had our first baby the same year we started our business. But my wife and I knew if we stayed on the path that we were on, it was going to be filled with pain and heartache for the long term. Or we can make some sacrifices now to make a life we truly wanted. And luckily, I had people in my circle that helped mentor me and my wife to understand how money works. So first, I learned the purpose of money. My mindset went from poor to middle class to rich. You see, the poor, they think the purpose of money is to pay their bills. The middle class, they think the purpose of money is to pay their bills on time so they can build and maintain credit, so they can buy things they cannot afford to pay cash for, to impress people they don't even care about or don't even care about them. I don't know about you, but there's probably a realtor or two in the room that strikes a chord, right? Because it's so common in our industry that we got to go get a fancy car to think we're impressing somebody that they really don't care. They're worried about their own life. But the rich, what do the rich think the purpose of money? They know the purpose of money is to make more money and ultimately free their time. You see, they plant the seed of money and the money starts having babies. They never touch the seed. They only use the babies to make more babies. Here's a good biblical truth that I found a great expression of the strength of multiplication. Any fool can count the number of seeds in an apple, but only God can count all of the apples in one seed. That's the power of multiplication. Okay, so the next paradigm shift for me was the people that aren't smarter than me, but they took more risks, they failed more often, and when they failed, they moved faster. They iterated, and that's how they got to success. Took me a while to figure that out. Another one is that time is money. You've all heard it. Time is not money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. So let me give you an example. If I was to write you a check for $100 million, but in order to cash that check, you would die in 24 hours. Would you take it? Of course not. Let me flip the script a little bit. So if you have $100 million, but you were just diagnosed with cancer, and the only cure was not covered by insurance, and it would cost you $100 million to cure it. Otherwise, you would die. Would you pay for it? Of course you would. That is the true testament of time is not money. The next one is that you need money to make money. It's absolutely a lie. What you need is a high-valued skill. How many of you are sitting on a mountain of equity in your house and that money is just sitting there not invested? See, you don't need money to make money. You just need a skill to get that and utilize that as an investment. And the last paradigm shift I'll mention today on the personal side is if you don't live a life by design, you will live a life by default. You have to live a life with purpose. All right, here's some paradigm shifts that changed my business life. That my service is worth what I believe it is worth. So if I provide a value and I don't get paid for that value, then that's what I think it's worth. It's worth nothing. I had a mentor tell me one time, you can't out Walmart Walmart. What does Target do? Typically, they have nicer stores, they have better customer service, and oftentimes better products. Who has tried to out Walmart Walmart? Well, Kmart did, and you see where that got them. So being the low-cost leader is a risky proposition because somebody's always going to race you to the bottom. Next one. Before I get to that, let me just mention, I think the most common objections I get to that mindset. I know what you guys are thinking here. My competitors charge this and that, and I can't charge more than that because I'll lose business or I won't get new clients. And I'm here to tell you from experience that is completely false. I did a completely Max campaign, a Value Max campaign years ago, and we charge completely different from all of our competitors, massively different, and won way more business, and we were the biggest in the marketplace. The next shift, not all business is good business. I'm willing to bet if any of you looked at the bottom third of your property management portfolio, you'd probably find that the bottom third actually cost you money instead of make you money, because they're the ones that spend most of your time dealing with their problems or whatever, terrible tenants or bad houses or whatever, and it costs you more money than to manage them. All right, next is, if the business isn't profitable and creating value, it shouldn't exist. But, and it's a big but, value has to come first before you focus on making money. Then you'll provide neither value or profit. So provide the most valuable possible, and the profit then comes. So that was my paradigm shifts there. Just a reminder, I haven't been watching the chat too much, but make sure that's alive. If you guys have any questions, I'll definitely get to that at the end. All right, so 6 months ago, I started doing some research, and I found that in the PM space, folks are no different than the general public in our financial means. Somewhere between 66 and 78% of Americans, thus PMCs, live paycheck to paycheck. Many are making decent money, but aren't doing anything to grow it and live right up to their means. I also found that most people have little to no financial goals. It's often, I want to be able to step back from the business one day, or I'd like to travel a few times a year, but it's almost never backed up with intentionality, and they think that their entire nest egg should be in their business. But I always have to ask the question, like, if you feel like your entire nest egg should be in your business, then why do I'm an aviation person. Why do Airbus A380s, that's 380s, that's the largest commercial airliner, have 4 engines? Why do they have 4 engines? Because if one went out, they still have 3 more and they're still flying. If 2 went out, they still have 2 more and they're still flying. And if 3 went out, they still have an engine and they can still fly. It's not going to be pretty, believe me. But that's the point. It's redundancy, and it's various streams of income solves that problem. So how about having a goal like this? I want to make so much money that money becomes irrelevant and time is my primary focus. All right, so a little bit about me here. My financial beginnings. I grew up extremely humble in a single wide trailer in northern New Mexico. Went to college that I paid for myself. Went to flight school. Another mountain of debt. Got engaged. Both of us had lots of bad debt. Followed a plan to get out of that debt and not be burdened by living paycheck to paycheck anymore. And we didn't want to start a marriage like that. So started a business while working as a helicopter pilot, sold the first business and started the PM business. It became our mission at that point to build wealth. We saw the opportunity that property management provides. Went from being like every other PM company in the market, providing the same services for the same fees. We just answer the phone better than anybody else. That's what we got business for at first. And then we decided our services were worth more and started charging accordingly. Started buying rental properties from our clients. The first one, we paid zero money for it. We grew the business to 2 markets, and then we did a multi-state merger. Then we sold the PM business. But at the beginning of that PM business, it went from 0 to 620 doors, and then we did that national merger, and it went to 1,200 doors. We did some acquisitions, sold the company, and then I was retired at 39. And I thought, whoa, what am I going to do now? And that's why I made it my life mission to start this strategy that changed my life and my business in this webinar, in a masterclass, if you will, because it drives me crazy that that rich people get rich silently. And we shouldn't. We need to share it. So this slide's a little bit big, but I'll scroll down. initially our PM company was doing $125 a revenue per unit, and then we got it to 275. We increased our profit per unit by 32% while we pruned off that bottom third that I mentioned. And now we have 43, in all that time investing, 43 cash flowing Class B properties we own solely and have an additional 379 doors with partners. Then we started investing in businesses and have scaled our net worth to deca millions. So, you guys ready to do the same? After the training, you will have the exact roadmap that I used, and I want you to imagine where you could be 1 year from now. So in the chat, if you're still with me, I hope you're still with me. Just write in there, bring it on. I'd love to see some activity in the chat. Okay, but your success is inevitable. All right. What you need to know. Let's dive into this. Step 1, you've got to find money in your life, in your portfolio. A business simply is not a business without profit. Your brand, your marketing, none of it matters if your business is not generating income. The purpose of the PMC generational wealth framework that we're talking about is to build a rock-solid financial foundation where you know exactly what levers you need to pull to make more money than you've ever thought possible. And it starts with knowing your numbers. And I know so many of us, especially in the PM business, we're out getting the business, right? But knowing our P&L on our balance sheet is really not top priority. But let me move this quickly here. So what is a P&L? It's really the business's report card. You have revenue, that's money in, expenses, that's money out, and what's left over is your profit. The profit part of the P&L, right? The profit and loss statement. So why is it important to know this? Your P&L shows whether your business is making or losing money. You can use this to decide if you need to sell more, cut costs, and find new ways to grow. Let's briefly go over a balance sheet. A balance sheet is a snapshot of what your business owes, and its worth at the moment. So assets, what you own. Liabilities, what you owe. The equity, which is your net worth or the business's net worth. So why is it important to know this? The balance sheet helps you see if your business is financially healthy. It shows whether you have enough to cover what you owe and helps you plan for big decisions like borrowing money or buying new softwares. Here's some quick points, but why every business owner needs to know this. You got to track progress. If you don't know the numbers, you just truly don't have an understanding of what the business is doing and where it can head. It helps you understand if you're growing or struggling. We all kind of have that census if we're growing or struggling, but the numbers are going to tell you the true picture. You can make better decisions when you know. Do I need to cut costs? Can I expand? Do I have the money to expand? Or can I reinvest in the business? Is there anything that I could put money on that will grow the business even further? It helps you plan for the future. Identifying opportunities to increase profits or reduce risks. So there's just a few of the things there. Business KPIs, you got to know business KPIs. It's so common. For instance, I asked to be part of this webinar, I asked if anybody knew their profit per unit per month. And about 54% of the over 115 people that registered for this webinar, only about, I guess that 46% knew their number. So you need to know your revenue per unit. You need to know your profit per unit. And probably the biggest lever you can pull is direct labor efficiency ratio. So that's your PM revenue divided by your direct labor. Don't convolute it. PM revenue is strict PM revenue. So if you do a maintenance company, don't flood the PM revenue with maintenance revenue. Or if you do real estate sales, don't flood the real estate sales into it as well. So This is your number one lever. Why? Because labor is our biggest expense. Really, your target needs to be 3.5 for a DLER. Okay. And I took this little screenshot from the NARPM Financial Performance Guide. If you have not read that, it is valuable, very valuable information. But there's the three levers you can pull to help your DLER. Productivity, how efficient is my team that I have? Pricing, can I raise my pricing so I can reduce my costs? That will change the delta, the gap, if you will. And then pay. Am I paying my staff, or maybe I have too much staff, there's too many people on the team, efficiently? Okay, let's move on. The value of time. This one probably makes me the most sad. You see so many people that get to the end of their life and they're filled with regret. They didn't really do what they want to accomplish with their world or their life. So if you really want to level up your business, free up your time. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing adding value to my business, or is this a task that isn't necessary or should be given to somebody else? I can't think of a single thing that has elevated my business and my own personal life more than freeing up my time. Then, like for instance, can you imagine a life if you had somebody mow the grass or clean the pool, or if you had a chef that cooked your meals and prepped your food? It's life-changing. I have a chef and I have somebody that preps our meals and cooks our food and drives my kids to school because they don't have a bus route, and does my lawn, because I can do all those things. I don't even mind doing all things. But is that the best thing for my life to do those? No, I would rather free up my time to be more intentional. So the other valuable thing about freeing up your time is the mental bandwidth that you free up. So if you die, let's think about it this way. If you died tomorrow and you're the sole operator of your business, what would that do to your spouse? How would that change her life? Would she know what to do? Just because now that business is solely relying on you as the operator. What if you got sued tomorrow and your business was the only source of income? Let me give you a real world example. My wife, Kristen, was a corporate paralegal for a real estate firm, and she did some litigation work for a large property management company, and they came across a premise liability lawsuit, and a tenant was suing the apartment complex because a stray bullet hit through their front door and killed the tenant in front of his entire family. And the lawsuit basically settled at $12 million. Well, it was actually a judgment. It went to trial. A $12 million judgment because they found that the property, the multifamily, was not adequately securing the complex. That's the type of lawsuit that it takes to wipe out a business. And that's why it's so important to have multiple streams of income. So this is a common question I get. How do we find this money? Well, we got to figure out how to pay ourselves. So often we don't know how to pay ourselves. Here's my quick formula for that. First of all, establish an emergency fund. I think you could be on the lower end of this because, again, property management is a nice recurring revenue stream. I love that about property management. So 3 months is probably pretty accurate. And then draw a market salary. Actually take a salary. And I'm not talking about it today, but there is great methods to invest the salary that you do take so to reduce your tax liability. The problem with salaries is that you get taxed at an income rate, which is about 37%, depending on what bracket you're in, which is substantially more than taking a dividend, which is typically, like an S Corp, is about 20 to 22%. Okay, next, set a budget for reinvestment of profits into the business. So if you want to start radio ads next year, set a budget. And whatever it's going to actually move the lever to move that business forward. And last but not least, this is how we finally get to take the profits as distributions. And that's the money that you get to use to snowball into massive wealth. Okay. Here's some personal finance foundations. That's what's unique about this, is that everybody wants to focus on just the property management business, but the reality is we got to build the foundation on the personal side so that they work cohesively together. So create financial goals. Think big. Think way bigger. You need to work for something way bigger than yourself. Have a budget. Calculate your net worth. You should know those things, even at home. Like, I want to know where my money is expending and how much revenue I'm bringing in. Establish, again, a personal emergency fund. This one should be a little bit longer. So 3 to 6 months, probably on the 6-month term. Again, if you lost the business, got sued or whatever, you would have reserves. Reduce debt to 35% or less. So you're not just paying debt all the time. You're actually utilizing money in a good manner. Avoid bad debt. Did you guys know that 70 to 75% of all luxury vehicles are leased? That's a pretty bad financial decision most of the time. I think Dave Ramsey used to say that 85% of BMWs are leased. We're just trying to look good, right? And that car is a depreciating liability, not a asset. And then your expenses, expense to income ratio of 70%. Some general rules of thumbs, but that's a good, solid financial foundation. Okay, let's grow. Step 2, so let's grow our income here. Okay. Grow the income by creating PMCs that deliver extreme value and is compensated accordingly. I think that's the key, compensated accordingly. Know the marketplace. Now, I'm willing to bet not many have actually called and secret shopped their competitors. I'm not actually asking anyone to secret shop to know what prices you should compete off, but actually know what objections to overcome. So don't compete on their prices, but compete on their objections, if you will. So, for instance, one of my favorite things that I would, when I was a BDM back in the day, bringing on new clients for our business was, but that real estate agent will do it for 8%, and you guys want to charge 10. And I would say, look, I get that, but the reality is we are full-time, mission-driven property management companies or a property management company, and our whole mission is to manage your property. So when that real estate agent takes on you as a client and they're at the closing table with a $25,000 check in front of them, do you think they're going to stop what they're doing to manage the massive flood that's happening in your basement? That would usually open someone's eyes. But my point is the objections. What services are you providing that your competitors aren't, and vice versa? And then add value, ask for more. Again, prune the portfolio. I'm sure the bottom third of most people's portfolio is actually losing you money. It's costing you money to manage those. We used to always say, that owner's so high maintenance, it's costing us to manage his property. He's paying $25 in reality, and it's costing us more than that, or whatever. So, and then the last one is to benchmark new properties. You should have a clear understanding of what type of properties you bring in, what type of clients that you'll manage for. Like, should I manage single wides, or should I manage flats or efficiency studio apartments, those types of things. Know what you can actually be profitable with and what you're not profitable with. All right, so let's build some generational wealth here. You need to fuel that factory now. So invest in your property management business so you can actually meet the capacity, but there is a threshold there. There's going to be a point where additional money is not going to actually pull any levers to actually increase your growth. Create multiple streams of income and generate wealth. So my favorite thing here is investing, obviously, like I mentioned, in real estate from my clients. When my clients are ready to sell, and I'll talk about it in a second, I always wanted to be the first one to raise my hand. Why? Because that was an opportunity to build generational wealth and additional income streams. Okay, so property management. Start with managing properties. We know that. We're going to build our wealth, gain knowledge and experience, and then we start buying rental properties from our investors, invest in our own properties. So 5 ways, let's briefly talk about this. 5 ways real estate pays you. This is a good thing to actually state to your clients, especially when they're like, I don't like this property anymore. Well, cash flow. That's always my number one mission is cash flow. Number two, appreciation. I called that the cherry on top. Loan pay down, somebody else is paying off the loan, the tenant is, right? And that helps you gain more equity in the house. Tax reduction, especially us in the real estate world. There's a magical thing called the real estate professional's designation in taxes. That is only one of many things that you can reduce your taxes by owning real estate. And then last but not least, and it should never be forgotten, is inflationary hedge. Rent and equity or home value increases have substantially kept over the inflation rate year after year, and it stays way above it. Okay, let me share the rule of compounding because I think this is something that is often neglected, if you will. Let me see if I could bring up. Yeah, I lost it. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. So I think I'm going to play with this just a minute, but I'm going to put two scenarios. One is an extreme case. I'm going to go back to being 20 years old and I make $2,500 a month, but I'm 20. I could work a second job, no obligations. And I'm going to put $2,500 a month into my retirement. And I want to see where this takes me. You guys are going to see. So when I'm 75, so that's 55 years of investing $2,500 a month. And if I put it into a S&P 500 index fund, the average has been 10% over the last 60 years. So let's check this out. That is what our result is. Almost $57 million. So if I put in $2,500 a month for 55 years, I would have $57 million in an S&P 500. But check this out. This is where it's really cool. This is the amount of money down here on this green line that I actually contributed. I only contributed $1.652 million, $1.6 million. But I got $57 million. This works the opposite it works the same in bad debt compounding interest. That's why when you buy a house and it takes forever to finally start paying down principal, because the banks are using this method to their advantage. But if we use it to our advantage, look at the potential. Now let's look at how do we get to the other extreme. Maybe I couldn't invest when I was young, and so now I'm way later in life, and I need to figure out how to catch up, if you will. And I want to try to achieve the same dollar amount. So check this out. We're going to put $10,000 first, $10,000 a month at that same interest rate. We're not even going to be close. Boop. I got, let's do 10 years. There we go. $10,000 a month. Monthly contribution is originally $10,000, and we're going to do it for 10 years. Check this out. You don't even get close. $2 million after 10 years. And look how linear, these are almost parallel. They only spread in the last couple of years because time is what matters. So check this. This is what I think, if I remember right, by testing this, this is what we would need to put in monthly to catch up to that same time value. Yeah, just a little bit over. So to get $57,000, we would have to contribute $300,000 a month for 10 years. It's mind-blowing. That's the power of time. Okay, let's get back to our normal, regular programming here. I wanted to show you the power of compounding. It's pretty impressive. So here's utilizing your property management company as a real estate funnel. So in order to do anything, well, you need to have a systematic approach. When a client wants to sell, you should be the first one looking to buy. Raise your hand. What does that actually mean in practical terms? Well, train your staff to listen to those pain points that client is having to actually help them through that and solving that problem for them. Not everybody is cut out to be a landlord. We all know that. So be that problem solver, if you will, to do it. Utilize creative finance. You don't have to have money to make money. You need a high value skill. In this case, how about negotiation? And then just a reminder, not every deal is going to pencil. So let me just give you an example. On my first rental property that I bought 13 years ago, I think it was 13, um, was a house that was for sale. Well, we managed. Let me just say that we managed. They had a terrible tenant. We just took over management and they had stopped. We got hired to deal with the tenant that was not paying rent. And once we did our first inspection, we found out they had done a lot of really bad maintenance to the house. Tile without wiping the tile grout. It was just gummed up and everything. But the point is, I didn't have the money to buy a house at $75,000. I didn't also have the down payment, and I didn't have the money to do any rehab, which it clearly needed. So what did I do? Well, if the deal is good enough, I'm a strong believer that the money will come. So I asked around, who can help me buy this property? So I found somebody. I needed $15,000 to put down. And so what I did was I bought the property, put $15,000 down, and I told the person that I borrowed the money from I was going to pay them $16,000, so they get $1,000 in interest in 6 months, and I was going to refinance that out. So that's how we purchased the first property, and it works all the time. Now let's talk about how to actually build a structure of generational wealth and to protect you with from liability. Okay, this is my actual investment org chart, if you will. That dark blue, if I can actually highlight this, that dark blue is my living trust, my wife and I's, and each blue is a subsequent LLC. I think we have 55 LLCs. Each underneath those is a property address typically, or a business or whatever. And then these are other business investments, or I even have some like precious metals or cryptocurrency and some other more risky investments. But this is how you protect yourself. That living trust, the revocable trust, is what you pass on and you set beneficiaries to when you pass away. And then they become the controlling entity of these assets. And all of these assets produce income month over month, right? And so they're not really having to do anything but manage the portfolio instead of manage the assets, if you will. So this, I'm not going to be able to talk on this much, but this is the format that creates generational wealth. And because they're each subsequent LLCs, they also protect liability. So if somebody sues, they're going to sue the LLC. And if you do your filings properly, they can't typically pierce the corporate veil and get up to your next level. And this one up here is a holding company. I won't say much about that today, but yeah. So that's the mindset and the structure that you could set up the generational wealth format. Okay. Today, everything I went over here is not theory. And, until now, I've only shared this method with a few select clients. I tested the entire process, proved it worked with my business and my personal life, and proved that it works in any market. And I'm ready to share this to more people and have a greater impact, if you will. So this generational wealth formula method is tested and proved. And it's the exact process that I used in my personal life and my businesses. In fact, it's the exactly how you got to this masterclass. That's why we're here today. So if you're thinking, I'm ready, how do I start? All you have to do is commit, focus, and take action. That's where most people fail. You got to take action. In fact, you're already started by attending this training today. I hope it was extremely valuable for you. I just gave out my generational wealth formula strategy, but as you can imagine, what I talked about here is only the tip of the iceberg to build a rock-solid financial foundation, methods to grow your income and find new revenue sources, and invest in substantial cash-flowing assets, ultimately setting you up for generational wealth. So, you can have two options here. You could try it alone and see if you could achieve it, or you could take a proven path to success. If you decide to work with me, not a single thing is left out. It's completely in your reach. No steps will be held back. You just need to follow my roadmap step by step. My mission for this industry is to accelerate our growth, accelerate your growth, your wealth, eliminate the headaches and the bad advice we often hear, and give you the exact process you need to follow to build your generational wealth on your terms. That's what you'll find inside of the generational wealth format, or the framework, excuse me. I've packaged the entire process from start to finish so you can have a rock solid financial foundation, create new revenue sources, and build wealth that grows even while you sleep. You have already mastered the base of this pyramid, the property management skills. Now, let's get you to the top. Why? Because the biggest problem I see in the property management space is that there are a lot of programs, and each of them only teach a single piece of the puzzle. But a program on how to charge more isn't useful if you or your business are living outside of your means, or isn't useful if profits aren't used to make more money. That's like saying you only need to raise the roof instead of shoveling out the crap after a flood. And they're also useless if you don't know what the purpose of money is and how to use it to make more of it without trading your time. So I want to give you the best start for a successful and fulfilling life because I've been through the entire process myself. Again, I have over 15 years of experience and a lot of trial and error mentors and coaches behind me. I've been in the trenches and really found out what works long-term versus momentarily. So, what is the cost of inaction? So what is it costing you right now to not have financial freedom? Is it costing time with your kids? How about being able to live the life you want, or to leave the business for more than a couple of days, to go on vacation? How about missed out investment opportunities? Let's put it this way. If you're still with me, write down $1 million. Write it down somewhere. Just write down 1,000,000. Underneath that, write down the total income that you make is. So say it's $100,000. Now do the math. 1 million minus 100,000, $90,000. It's costing you right now $90,000 to not make $1 million. And I hope that will set in. So, here's how it works. Just bear with me for 1 second. I'll get the Q&A here. So, who is the PMC generational wealth framework for? It's business owners and entrepreneurs, people who are exceptional at what they do, have experience and expertise as PMs, and know how to deliver results. People who understand that investing in themselves and their business is the best and only way to grow. People who take action and implement the method step by step. So if this sounds like you, I'd love to invite you to fill out an application to see if you qualify for a call to sign up for the PMC Generational Wealth Framework. My team and I have reserved times for the next 3 days to talk to you and truly understand whether we can help you. The call is about 45 minutes long, and our intention is to understand your business goals and identify whether you're a good fit to work together. So you can apply here. I'll put it in the chat where the link is. And if you want to qualify, here's a fact here. I would not be where I am today if I hadn't invested in working with people who were where I wanted to get. If you want to be around great people, you got to put it up, right? You got to spend the time. So I will share that link and I will open it up for any Q&A. So just put a question, if you have a question, in the chat. If not, fantastic. But I am here to assist. I'll wait a few minutes here. And I thank you guys for your time. Hopefully that was valuable for you. All right. Well, I can't believe I solved all the questions. No questions. Okay, I'm going to stop the stream. Thank you all for attending. It was awesome.